Before we begin today in what may be considered our greatest hour, I really want to float an idea. I think this is a fun idea, and I think it'll keep things fresh. So what I'm thinking is when, or if, perhaps, we take the mountain and the Vale as House Gossip. That will be our goal, I think, from now on. Only one avian house can rule supreme, and I think it's got to be the House of the Golden Goose, right? So I think that's always the plan, but here's what I was thinking. After that, what do we do, right? Does it devolve into map painting, where we take the Mountain Vale, we take the Trident, we take the North, we take the blah, 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 until we're playing this till Christmas, right? I don't like that. I've never liked map painting in Crusader Kings 2, let alone Crusader Kings 3. I don't think it's particularly entertaining to play, for me personally. I don't know how interesting it is to watch, I can't imagine massively so. I think the character building, the round building, etc. is always the most compelling aspect. So hear me out here. What if, purely hypothetical, and I'll wait for your feedback, we conquer the mountain and the Vale, and then we say that is the legacy of House Gossip. We stop there, maybe a couple of days break, whatever. I jump in the same save into a different dynasty somewhere else in the world. Maybe we come down here into, I don't know, some very central part of... There's a house called Butterfly House. They're actually called House Butterfly House, which is amazing. What if we just jump in as them and give ourselves a fresh start? I can do it with dev mode and modding, and I can kind of wipe the slate clean for that particular house. We can make a new character, as I did with House Goshawk, of course, set up the scenario, and we take a fresh start from there and do it again from a different perspective, different types of characters, maybe a different approach, different culture, of course. Going to be Reachman, so that will, of course, infer how kind of that particular playthrough goes. And we see what we do with it. Or, alternatively, we take the Mountain and the Vale and we say, okay, if I come back to a Game of Thrones stay in even 6 months' time, we start with a Goshawk on the Mountain and the Vale. I think that could be kind of fun. Then over the however long, I'm happy to play Crusader Kings 34. We've built up our own little 7 kingdoms over time. Sure, the timelines might not line up if we start again. It's Robert's Rebellion, but House Goshawk is on the throne. I think that would be... Or House Goshawk are the Lords Paramount of the Vale. I think that could be really, really fun. And like a weird way to, remember all of our different little houses and leave our mark on the world. Let me know what you think. Anyway, I think that could be kind of a fun idea. But for me personally, I think when we get this house up to... this counts as an Empire title. Again, where do you go from there? Short of map painting at that point, which doesn't particularly interest me. We've put our house on the Iron Throne. We take the Mountain and the Vale. I like that. I think that's a great place to end it. So this could... And again, I'm not intending this by any stretch of the imagination. It could very much be the last episode, but we will see how we get on with things, right? Yesterday, we spent a very, very long time building up the realm. Lots of good feedback on that. Some people, lots of mixed feedback too. And of course, we'll just have to test it and see how it works in practice. Lots of people saying, say, for example, levies. Some people are saying, raise your army without the levies, because then, of course, your cost is going to be significantly lower. Lots of people are saying, keep the levies active because they act as good cannon fodder, especially if you're fighting people with a good army of their own. In this case, maybe not relevant because they've only got 400 man-at-arms versus our however many of thousands we've got right there. So it's I think it's going to need a little bit of experimentation, a little bit of a test. I still don't understand how this negative gold works. Lots of people were saying, don't worry about it so much that, the wealth is relevant. Lots of people saying you're doing the accounting wrong. As far as I understand, the max level is going to be the max level of your levies and your man-at-arms if, in the hypothetical situation, that they're all fully reinforcing. Like, for example, if right now we're spending 8.7 per month. If we raise them all, we're spending more because they're raised, and then if they're totally exhausted, that's why it says max. That will be minus 38. So in the small situation that all our troops are destroyed, our income will be minus 38 plus the 19. Does that make sense? Right? Am I explaining that, I think, correctly? I'm not sure. So what would that take us to? Like 19... It would take us to minus 19 gold per month, I believe, in that situation. Anyway, it's purely hypothetical and really doesn't matter. The point is, I think we will do a tiny little bit more building up. I think we've got some more man-at-arms we can certainly bolster, because we're missing a lot of potential here. I think we just ignore that entirely, and I think we just go full send. I think we just forget it. I might be putting too much stock into it, too much worry, but ultimately this is going to be the biggest moment of the house, so of course I want to go big on investment. As for the future of the dynasty, regardless of whether or not we continue on and we carry on playing, I want to give, as was suggested in the comments last episode, some artifacts to Sweet Rick. The question is, what the hell are we going to give him? Oh, I thought we'd be able to give him more than that. Is this just all the stuff we're not using? Really? I think someone said give him the fertility benefits so that we could... Oh, I must have liquidated it all down. But that's a very fair point in the future. I'll bear that in mind. When we come across... when we go to another tournament, when we get those fertility artifacts or whatever, we give it to... We give it to Rylock. We give any spare down to our direct heir. The other thing people were saying is I need to focus on upgrading... Oh, hello. Today I met an old village elder in my realm. Okay. 1 year she fell ill with fever, hovered between life and death, so she claims. During this time, she dreamt of a vision of hell and saw many terrifying visions. After she recovered, she realized she was given a second chance and reformed and lived a good, virtuous life. Okay, so we can get +2 diplomacy for 2 years. We can get... Okay, so it's either piety, prestige, or skeptical about fantastical stories. Faith in law saves us. You know what? I'm going to say that. Even though this guy isn't a zealot, I think you've got to admit, when he started worshipping Rylock, his life really did turn around. He went from being just a guy showing off at tournaments to a proper military powerhouse. So you know what? I think we will go for that, regardless of whether or not he's actually on it. So the other thing people were saying, oh, for God's sake, tonight's family feast went well. My granddaughter Delanta told stories about a recent misadventure, and I noticed she didn't exaggerate in the slightest. I got on really well with my son, Rylock. He drank with me once the meal was done, and before I knew it, we were laughing and regaling each other's stories. It is a new friend. Well, that's good. We became friend with our son and heir, Rylock. That's lovely. The other thing people were pointing out that we should be focusing on with some of this cash here, arguably as important, people were saying, as upgrading our troops, is making sure that we are stacking bonuses on our stationed man-at-arms, whether that is with the royal armories or whatever else, which of course we have here. Can we upgrade that? 688. 20% extra damage, 20% toughness. I feel that's the type of thing we might invest in when we've got our armies bolstered up a bit more, if we're looking to really stretch them. Of course, for our next character, again, hypothetically, of course, if that does happen, we can... Oh, that's probably where we'll have to invest if we want to stretch it, because then the next guy's not going to have the 5 out of 19 on his troop limit and stuff like that. A new perk for the prowess lifestyle. Here we go then, first one. Prowess per level of fame +1 would actually be quite significant. What is our level of fame right now? We're about to hit Living Legend. So what is that, like the 5th one? So we get +5 prowess, effectively. Captain effectiveness +15% seems really, really good. Fatal casualties -10% is also really, really good. Ruthless Assault, prowess +1, attacker advantage +3, shield bearer, defender advantage +3. I think orderly maneuvers and perpetual mastery are both nuts. I think perpetual mastery for a guy like this who has 19 captains. Bear in mind, I went around recruiting a lot of good ones. I think this is nice. Our worst captain has 8 prowess, which is still passable. But on average, I'd say we're probably looking at about probably like 15 in terms of skill. Bear in mind, some of them are very, very good with like up to 30 there. I think that's okay. What we could be doing as well is training up our captains instead of going for county control. It's going for county control for taxes. Taxes equal troops, right? But I think if we could say train commanders, yeah? Maybe even when we go to war, we flip them over to raised army maintenance -22%. I think we say train commanders then. Let's hit that one. Okay, and what can you do for me? Supply duration again, we'll flip over to that one when we're at war, which will be very soon. These are kind of the final things in my mind of plans. How close are we? What about the inheritance? We're still second in line. I think it's unlikely that my good friend Lord Gregor here is going to have another kid. That's not a fertility down, really. Being addicted to milk of the poppy won't affect your fertility. Okay, fair enough. It's quite possible they could have another kid. But it would have to be a son to displace us in the succession. She's 37. She's 37 and has -50% fertility as well. I think it could be quite likely she could die early, pass it on to this guy who might not have a male heir, at which point we swoop in. William Goshawk. That's what we like to see. Very good. Not genius, sadly. We did miss out on that one. What about Wilrick? Wilrick? That sounds like something George R.R. Martin would laugh to himself as he scribbles it down for his next key character in his book. Oh, John, you old fart. What happened there? Who was he? Oh, he was the Admiral. Okay, well, that's not a big deal. I'm sure we can do something about that. Oh, God, our Admirals are bad, aren't they? I might have to go and find someone, because I think during war, the Admiral is going to be pretty good. Caravan Master, we should be able to pull up someone good for that position. Okay, is there anything else we can do right now? We can make Helene pay me more taxes. Excellent. Learn to inherit titles. Yep, really nothing we can do on that front. And again, probably going to push it for war anyway. I want to make sure all of our various different odds and ends are tidied up here. We're doing it too distracted, just kind of focused on war exclusively here. Bram Brulin. 215 gold for an admiral who isn't even very good. I'm going to dig someone up from the pile. He looks a little bit like Tywin, doesn't he? He looks like Charles Dance, not as like the character of Tywin, the actual actor. Bizarre, it's the nose. Yeah, sort by stewardship, please, please, please do. Got one for 52 gold. Got one for 52 gold, and I think this guy was very, very good. Ferris. He's also become a knight. That's very nice. And 26 stewardship, so a little bit of an upgrade there, too. Yeah, this guy is very good. He's actually better than our steward currently. Maybe we put Sheldon, then, as our admiral, and we put this guy in as a steward. That seems fair enough. Yeah, that seems okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Then I'm going to do the old classic. We're going to take some of this 207 gold, and we're going to see if we can find ourselves a better commander as well. Somebody willing to join us. Bear in mind, anybody with that invite to court without the X next to it is bribable. Obviously, it's going to be very, very expensive, but I think it's worth it. Renly Fell. Oh, we don't even need to bribe him. Oh, how kind of you, Renly Fell. He likes us. So I got some 3-4 new knights there as well, which should help bring the average up pretty significantly. So very happy to see that. Yeah, that's a lot better. I'm going to go just hanging around here too. You know what? I'll pay him. I'll pay him. It's going to be stress, but let's bolster up this army. 15,000 prestige is absolutely insane. So much. I love the comparisons between this guy and Tywin as well. I think he really is Tywin Lannister if we spec more into martial and less into intrigue. Tywin, of course, being pretty good at both, but this guy is especially excelling at one. Somebody said he played the Game of Thrones a lot better than all of our previous characters too, and someone replied to that saying it is kind of the difference between Tywin and Littlefinger, and I totally agree. I mean, it's completely night and day. Even though the others felt like they were a lot more actionable, even though it felt like they had a lot more drive behind them and able to take direct control, what really did they do? We killed a bunch of people over a sword. We got a lot of revenge, lots of personal vendettas, but this guy feels a bit more... sure, you can get trained in swordsmanship. Why not? Yeah, this guy feels like he really has excelled with the realm stuff, and I feel like, again, that honest and callous combo is quite nice for that. Very quite nice for that. So... do you think we're prepared? We do have to call in our allies. Kind of wanted to hope we could get to the living legend first, but it's not super relevant. It's just a minor opinion boost for potentially calling people into a dangerous war. Let's get some more pikemen. I think they're going to be super essential. If you fight in the Vale, Vale is, you know, incredible with cavalry. That's what they're renowned for. So let's boost up our pikemen. That's pretty much what they've invested in. Let's save up a good, say... years buffer worth of the maximum possible negatives going. A few days ago, Simeon, the learned son of my vassal Jarman, took part in an experiment with the oil of vitriol concocted by the celebrated alchemist Joffrey. Something went wrong. Do we care? Okay, whatever. We gain dread for that. I mean, he broke the law. Put him in prison then. Absolutely correct. In an ideal world, I'd put about 400 gold, 500 gold into the treasury. We're not going to be able to afford that unless we part with our prize ring. It's just not necessary. Sell it. Sell the ring he won in his youth when he was a show-off, when he was showboating. It was not really becoming of such a brilliant martial mind. Sell it. It's symbolic that we are letting go of the past, the man that he was, and his wasted potential, and we are moving into the man that he always wanted to be. That will fund the armies, in a worst-case scenario, of course. Interesting. Legacy of the Conqueror. As I'm reading the latest missives from around the realm, I cast mine to its origins. The conquest of the Seven Kingdoms remains one of the greatest feats achieved within one's lifespan. Cannot help but ponder the impact of Aegon's conquest on our realm. Legacy of the Targaryen dynasty is undeniable. Its foundations were drawn from that man's actions. Part of me acknowledges the benefits that have come with Targaryen rule. Stability, centralized power, and the protection of dragons are not things to be taken lightly. Yet I wonder what had happened if Aegon had not crossed from Dragonstone. Would Westeros still be divided to this day? About that, would a Westerosi have broken the stalemate? Good peace have been achieved without blood and fire. The legacy of conquest will be debated for many centuries to come, but it's for me to decide what I can take away from it. 75 prestige. How odd. Well, I like a little bit of flavor now and again. That's nice. Without further ado then, 424 gold. It's about 10 months worth in the treasury. I think we... Are they doing anything valuable? Not particularly. She is very, very stressed. Did her husband die? No. Frozen grief over probably both of her children. Oh, yes, both of her children. I wonder what happened there then, huh? There is no reason why we shouldn't have a contingency plan in place. Just because this guy is a bit more Tywin than Littlefinger doesn't mean that we can't... I mean, he's going to have learned the lesson of his predecessors, I would very hope. And again, the council is there to assist with the necessary plannings and arrangements. This is going to critically stress him. But I think it's a necessary evil. In fact, let's try and avoid that critical stress then. It's only a decision he'd be comfortable taking if he was comfortable, right? Let's talk to our confidant. Love chatting with a little confidant here and there. Talk to your son. That seems fine. And then, get him murdered. Get him murdered. Unlikely that we'll get him murdered. Very low chance of success, but possible. Lord Torrhen is very good. Is there anyone better? No, I thought it was kind of unlikely. Well, we will give it an honest go. Let's sort by... success chance. Wow. We've got one person to be invited, and it's only you. Well, 55 gold. Fair enough. 55 gold well spent. Did not have any impact on the plot whatsoever. Jesus, why? Oh, he's circumspect. Oh, bollocks. Is that a temporary modifier? Modifier on your travel, minus 10. Okay. That's interesting. Modifier... So is that... Well, where's he getting circumspect from? What modifier is that? I thought that was a temporary modifier you got whilst you were traveling. Never know your next move. Okay. And you take that when you travel, right? Am I going mad? Is he traveling? He is traveling. He's in bloody White Harbor. So when he comes back from that tournament, chances are we will be able to take him out. Okay. I've been aware of Merryk's eyes on me all evening as we eat, but as I continue to pick up my first dish as the next courses queue up, his fish strikes the table. Can't let this go on any longer. I can't sit here and watch you waste away, Robin Rick. I bridle somewhat, but it's hard to look indignant between the mountain pile of dishes. Maybe I don't find too much time to eat, but it's consuming business running a high lordship. You know what? You're right. The pair of you investigate ways to get fit. Oh, God, that is a very stressful thing, I'm sure, but he is already trying to gain weight. He's clearly not going so well about it. He would know he needs to be fit. He's a strong guy. He's got incredible Power 69. Nice. How dare you? Honestly, take the stress. It should be stressful. Your best friend the king of the realm just stopped the feast to draw attention to you and your lack of girth. Not in that way. So that would be, I think, critically stressful. You're bloody right. See what we can do with it then. Okay, I think it's time. War were declared for the kingdom of the Mountain of the Vale. Of course, an Empire tier title equivalent. She has declared us her rival. She's declared us her nemesis. Ooh. Wow. A step beyond even a rivalry. Probably because we're about to get hundreds of thousands of people murdered and killed. Her primary heir, when he is back in the realm, will be probably quite easy to pick off, I think. We've got an 8% now when he's not home, so that's going to be about 58%. Secrecy is relevant. Yeah, I'd assume so, because the minimum's 5%, so we're clearly above the minimum. So that'll jump up to about 58% then. That seems viable. That way, even if this war goes horrendously, terribly wrong, as long as he's dead, she's very... she's not having any more children, let's be honest. She's 39 and minus 50% fertility from that maiming. Far too injured. It goes to us regardless. It's ours regardless of what happens here. Let's raise every single troop. Let's scream at Ferris. Take a day off, Ferris. And, oh, good news. It's a fresh sunny day, and I can see the sweat dripping off Merryk's chin as he continues to encourage me forward. The sack of rocks on my back grown under the weight, and as I do too, as I throw it down on the line that the dirt Merryk had drawn with a stick. Claps his hands together. You're looking strong already. I think it's time to move on to something better. I know you're currently conducting drainage works in the next field over and it could use some help. Otherwise, if you're feeling brave, there's a copse of trees. Bring me the axe. How odd. They're doing, like, actual strength training, not just... It's bulking season. Sure, fair enough. Right. So, let's talk about the council then. I think there's no point swapping him over. Because we're getting 18% captive effectiveness, men-at-arms damage, and toughness. That with our own traits, we're looking at about 35%, right? If that's just from the stuff that I remember. Let's swap the fleets to supply. Oh, God, and that's based on Marshall. Oh, piss and shit. Okay. Renly fell. Goodbye. Put that on Scatter. That gives us 23% extra supply duration. Why am I doing this? Well, our guy has 45 commander advantage. He is insane. Getting this guy to drive as many troops as possible seems like the best way to go about things. I guess what we would do... Oh, come on. This guy is a show-off. This guy is a goddamn show-off, okay? In his mind, he's some great conqueror who has not yet... had his day, really. We've picked up a few minor lords here and there, but this is a true fight. We're going to go through the bloody gate. Terrible idea. Famously, a terrible idea, but we're going to do it. Felling trees is dangerous business for someone as inexperienced as myself. I think you're ready to take on something a bit bigger, he says, cheerfully indicating with his axe. The tree he points to is a towering hardwood, and I eye it warily as my aching muscles tense. 78% chance we gain the trait Lumberjack for 10 years. Attrition taken in forest is down by 50%, and the minimum battle roll in the forest is +1. That's crazy. 1% chance the tree falls on us and kills us dead. You're unable to cut down the tree without help. You know what? You become obese! Well, that's not right. That's the opposite. Okay. Now we stop gaining weight. He must have been right on the cusp. That's ridiculous. He must have been just, like, right on the cusp, and it's now kicked him over. Okay, so we can potentially get back up to 22%. Okay, well, there you go. With my task complete, I bid farewell to the peasants I had been working alongside with Merryk. They cheerfully waved me off, completely unsuspecting as to my noble origins, and I returned to my usual lodgings. Though my muscles were sore, I feel flush with strength and vitality. Spying a large basin of water on the other side of the room, I haul myself to my feet and I approach it. Taking off my shirt in the flicker of the candlelight, I regard myself in the water's complexion. It becomes brawny. Ah, shit. Injury resistance, prowess +5. That's good. So if we're injured during leading the front lines, we still keep 5 extra prowess. Prowess +1. Or I owe it all to you, Merryk. Merryk becomes loyal to us. No. Take brawny. Hell yeah. A little bit of a kind of Rocky training montage before we head out here to probably die doing a Rocky training montage. Right, let's call in White Harbor. Whisper Point. 712 people. You know what? It's 75 prestige. That's fine. Thank you for joining me. White Harbor is going to be massive, because then we can catch him in a pincer maneuver. White Harbor coming from right down here can hit the north, and we can come in through the bloody gate. A horrendous idea. But you know what? I love it. I love it as a concept. Let's get in there. Where are their troops is probably a better question, because this could be very frightening depending on if they come down through the bloody gate. Hello. Oh, hello. Right. Back up. That's too many. Let's see if we can bait them home. Do you think we can bait them home? Things we're going to outrun them because we've got so much maneuvering. Hello. Oh, hello. It's House Manderley. I appreciate that. Thank you for turning up. Oh, it's our other allies too. Boom. Come up. We've got a big battle ahead. They are reinforcing the bloody gate. Well, this is going to be it, isn't it? This is the moment. Peasant control, not bothered about that. Liberty faction, not bothered about that. If we move in 30,000, we catch them there. That's 8,000. We'll kill a lot very rapidly because we've got aggressive attacker. We've got 2 armies there. And they've got a quality 1 army hanging out at the back. That's a risky attack. You will win decisively. They reinforce. We still win decisively. Well, let's see how it bloody goes then. Let's see if we do win decisively. That was a massacre. We lost 2,100. They lost 18,000. Almost 19,000. We went in with 36,000. They went in with 33,000. We're leaving with... Oh, sorry, the other way around. Yeah, it's because the UI obviously meets in the middle there. Very confusing. God damn. We've left with over double their troops. So this puts us in a very good situation. Of course, we can't just plow along and try and catch them, nor would I. Let House Manderley siege the bloody gate then. And here come our other allies. Oh my god. Oh my god. You see what happens there, don't you? The first place we sieged in Moon's Approach happened to be the home of the second in line to the Vale. And that first battle was so destructive and decisive that because we hold our heir, that's a 50% benefit. It was 50% from that first battle flat. And then we get her heir, her direct heir, her only successor for another 50%. But you know what? I don't like it. I don't like it. Because you know what? This isn't the victory he wanted. I think this is a man who had an idea in his head, and that idea was he was going to go down in a blaze of glory. And you know what he's done? He just waltzed in and took it with a single decisive battle. I mean, look, maybe that battle alone was legendary enough to go down in legend. Right? Maybe it was good enough. The fact that he killed that many men was, it was decisive, it was impressive, and it was all down to his leadership ability. He's got 72 fucking prowess. You know I gotta check and see if there's anyone else out there in the world better than that. You know I have to see it. Sort by prowess skill. There is not a single person. And in fact, not only is there not a single person, but we are in a league of our own. Second place is 56 prowess. Third place, 45 prowess. It's a sharp decline down to the mid-30s there. We've turned him into a monster. Just an absolute monstrous man. A martial legend and a combat powerhouse. And now with that, his wife sits on the throne of the Mountain in the Vale. Fiona Arryn. Her son, and of course, the next character we play, Rylock Gosshawk, is in line. And you know what's better still? She's a queen. We get to wear a crown. And you want to see what crown he's got on his goddamn head? It's 2 golden geese. Oh, squad. I'm going to be honest with you. How do we top this? This is almost a perfect ending to this series as far as I'm concerned. We end with one of the best battles maybe I've ever had in Crusader. I mean, that was just... I personally, as a player, I like the close wars, the close battles where you snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. That's what I like. You outwit them, you outmaneuver, whatever, you just get lucky rolls. It doesn't really matter how it happens. That's what I like personally. We charged through the most offensive point in the 7 kingdoms, so much that it gets its own custom, very lovely 3D model there. And we win decisively without even so much as a real challenge. And then we get a crown of gilded geese. Shit, I think it's going to be very, very hard to top that. Borderline impossible. So, my friends, today, I leave it there. I think there is not much else we could possibly do today, if we do continue, that would be beneficial. And again, I think it's such a good ending. But I will take it under advisement. I need to be convinced here in the comment section that this is or is not the right place to leave things, to wrap it up with that golden goose crown on his big golden head. But, you know, I will pay attention to the comment section, and if I can be convinced, I will happily return. If not, you know, if I think this is a good ending when I read what everybody has said, then I will certainly take a few days to kind of assess the situation. Maybe we'll come back with that idea of, you know, populating the world with our different houses as we build them up next time we play the Reach, time after that we play Dawn, etc., etc. Or we could shelve it for now, and again, come back to it in 2 or 3 months with House Gosshawk in the Vale. which I like. And I mean, regardless, we're going to do this idea. I'm just not sure about whether we carry on with Game of Thrones right now, whether we, again, put it up and we come back to it later on and let it breathe for a while. Either way, thank you for joining me. I don't have any Patreon lists for today, so that will be all. But I'm very happy to, if nothing else, end on a very high note. I think this has worked out really well, and I'm very happy with things, and I think that was the ending we needed. I know it seems a little bit pointless to have built up all the troops and the realm and everything else if we're calling it here, but I think that was. I mean, ultimately it was pointless either way, right? Because we won the war through pure, random, unbridled chance. But yeah, I think I'm totally fine with it. So anyway, let me know what you think, and I'm just gonna leave it there. I think there's much else to be said. Goodbye, little Robin Rick Goshawk. What a guy you became.